If you're waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., this is not just some random sleep issue. It is a message. And whether you believe in energy, spirit, or just deep psychology, something inside you is trying to wake you up. This specific window is powerful in Buddhist tradition. It's known as the hour when the spiritual world tries to speak, where your body and mind reveal what they're truly holding on to. Most men shrug this off and try to fall back asleep, ignoring the most important moment of their day. But here's the truth. If you're constantly waking up at this time, there's a reason, and there are things you must start doing. You do not need to be a monk or live in the mountains to understand this. You just need to listen, act, and make a shift. Because that's when the transformation starts. This is the window where your mind is the most honest, your energy is the most sensitive, and your thoughts are the loudest. It's also the time when Buddhist monks wake to begin their day, with discipline, reflection, and clarity. That's not a coincidence. It's deliberate. If you're serious about becoming more in control of your life, of your emotions, of your purpose, this is where you start. Not when the sun is up, not when the world is loud, but when it's just you, the silence, and the message. So if you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., do not waste it. Do these 3 things, and everything begins to shift. 1. Sit with the stillness. When you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., do not grab your phone. Do not turn on the light. Do not distract yourself. Sit with the stillness. This is the hour of absolute silence, the hour when the external world is asleep, but the internal world is awake. And this silence is not empty. It's full of answers. In Buddhist teaching, this hour is considered sacred. It's when your subconscious starts to surface, when suppressed thoughts, emotions, and even messages from your higher self begin to rise. Most men are constantly running from their thoughts, buried in work, in noise, in distraction. But between 3 and 5 a.m., there is nothing to distract you. And that's where your power starts. Sit still, literally. Just sit up, keep your eyes closed, and breathe. Not in any fancy way, just feel your breath. Feel your body. Feel your heart beating. This is when you begin to tune in to yourself, not the version you show the world, but the man underneath all that, the real one. The goal is not to analyze or fix anything in this moment. The goal is to feel the discomfort, the calm, the confusion. It all comes up for a reason. Do not suppress it. Just acknowledge it. Sitting in silence like this resets your energy. It grounds your mind. It sharpens your awareness. And slowly, your internal dialogue starts changing. In this stillness, you'll begin to realize what's been bothering you, what's been driving you, what's been draining you. And it's often things you ignore during the day. But in this early hour, there are no lies. Your body speaks. Your mind whispers. And if you're man enough to sit through that quiet intensity, you'll start to hear things that actually matter. Buddhist monks don't wake up at 4 a.m. just to follow a rule. They do it because this hour connects them directly to awareness, to the present. And you do not need a robe or temple to experience that. You just need the discipline to sit still. Start with 5 minutes. That's it. No goal, no pressure, just stillness. Because when you train your nervous system to find calm in silence, you stop needing chaos to feel alive, you stop running, you start facing, and that's when you begin to master yourself. 2. Reflect without judgment. After sitting in silence, your mind begins to clear, and this is the moment to reflect, not to overthink, not to criticize yourself, but to simply observe what's really going on inside. This is not the time to solve every problem in your life. It is the time to look at things honestly. Ask yourself one question. What is waking me up? And be honest. It might be stress. It might be fear. It might be a sense that something in your life is off balance. Do not push the answer away. Let it come. Most men are too busy surviving during the day to realize what their own mind is trying to say at night. Buddhism teaches awareness without attachment. That means you do not need to fix everything in that moment. You just need to see it. If you feel lonely, admit it. If you feel lost, admit it. If you're frustrated, admit it. The man who lies to himself in silence never grows. But the man who observes without judgment, he becomes dangerous in the best way. Because self-awareness is power. This is also where the mind shows you patterns. You might wake up thinking about the same woman, the same failure, the same fear. That's not a coincidence. Your subconscious is putting it on repeat because it's asking you to face it. And you can. But not by reacting, by reflecting. Keep a small notebook beside your bed. Write down whatever came to you in those early minutes. Do not edit it. Do not polish it. Just write. This isn't for social media. This is for you. Most men don't journal because they think it's soft. But the truth is, it takes more strength to confront your thoughts than it does to ignore them. When you start seeing your thoughts on paper, patterns emerge. You'll notice what triggers you, what inspires you, what drains you. And from there, you can make real changes, not based on emotion, but based on clarity. The power of this practice isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming honest. Because a man who can sit in silence and reflect without judgment becomes harder to manipulate. He stops reacting. He starts responding. And the world can feel that shift. Use this time to take inventory, not with shame, not with regret, just truth. And from that truth, build. 3. Reconnect with your breath. Now that you've sat in silence and reflected, it is time to reconnect with the most overlooked tool you have, your breath. And this is not some mystical ritual. This is real. Your breath is your anchor. In Buddhism, the breath is the first gateway to self-mastery. Why? Because it is the only thing you can always control, even when your world feels out of control. At 3 a.m., your nervous system is on edge. You may not notice it, but that subtle restlessness is why you feel unsettled. Maybe it is stress about money. Maybe it is something from the past. Maybe it is fear of the future. Regardless, your breath will always bring you back to now. Take slow, deep breaths through your nose. Inhale deeply, hold it for a few seconds, then exhale slowly through your mouth. Do it again and again. This is not for relaxation alone. This is about regaining command of your system. Men lose control when they stop breathing. In arguments, in chaos, in pressure. The breath becomes shallow, quick, erratic. And that's how emotions take over. But the man who controls his breath controls his reaction. That's why elite warriors, Buddhist monks, and Stoic leaders all train their breath, because it regulates everything else. As you breathe, focus on the sensations. The air in your nose, your chest rising, your body softening. This awareness builds presence, and presence is rare in today's world. When you are present, you are not haunted by the past. You are not worried about the future. You are simply here, awake, alive, clear. Do not complicate this. 10 breaths, that's all. And when you do it consistently, you will notice your sleep improves. Your decisions sharpen. Your patience grows. And most importantly, your reactions slow down. This is what separates men who live by impulse from men who live by principle. The man who breathes with awareness becomes hard to shake. He walks into chaos calmly. He handles pressure without panic. And women, employers, friends, they feel that presence. It makes people trust you. It makes people respect you. But more than anything, it gives you control over your own state. So when you wake up between 3 and 5 a.m., return to your breath. Let it guide you back to center. Let it remind you that no matter what's going on out there, in here, you are steady. That's what makes a man unbreakable. 4. Ask yourself the hard questions. This is the part most men avoid because it is uncomfortable. But discomfort is the doorway to clarity. If you want to evolve, you cannot keep running from the questions that keep showing up in your silence. Between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., your mind is stripped of distractions. The truth is louder. And this is your chance to confront it. Start asking yourself the hard questions. Not dramatic ones, not vague ones, direct, real questions. Like, why do I feel unsatisfied right now? What am I pretending not to know? Who or what am I holding on to that's holding me back? Am I becoming the man I promised myself I would become? These questions do not need immediate answers. What they need is honesty. And Buddhist wisdom teaches that truth is the beginning of liberation. Not the kind of truth you present to the world, but the kind you admit when no one is watching. Here's what happens when you ask yourself these kinds of questions during that early hour. Your mind opens. Your ego drops. You begin to think clearly. Because at 3 a.m., your image doesn't matter. Your filters are gone. You are raw, and that rawness is powerful. Most men live avoiding themselves. They hide behind ambition, relationships, sex, money, or distractions. But at some point, you run out of places to hide. And this hour strips all of that away. That's why it feels uncomfortable. That's why it feels like something's off. Because it is. You are being invited to face the truth. So ask, not to punish yourself, not to spiral, but to unlock. Every time you ask yourself a hard question and sit in the discomfort of not knowing, you grow. You become more grounded. You stop chasing empty things. You begin acting with purpose, not impulse. If a question makes your stomach tighten, good. That means you're getting close. That means you're not just repeating old habits. You're finally stepping into awareness. And a man who can face hard questions at 3 a.m. becomes a man who makes powerful decisions at 3 p.m. The world doesn't need more men pretending to be strong. It needs more men who are honest enough to break, rebuild, and rise again, with purpose. You do not need a therapist in this moment. You need courage. Ask the hard questions. Do not flinch. That's where your next level lives. 5. Let go consciously. This is the hour to release, to unclench your fists, to stop dragging the past into the present. Men carry more than they admit. Pain from years ago, silent disappointments, regrets, even guilt they never voice. But from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., the weight becomes too heavy to ignore. And that's exactly why you keep waking up. In Buddhist wisdom, this early hour is known as the time of the lungs. It is when the body tries to release grief, sadness, emotional pressure. So if you wake up during this time and feel restless, heavy, or anxious, it's likely your body is telling you, let go. But letting go is not passive. It is not about ignoring. It is about making a decision to stop feeding what no longer serves you. This could be an old heartbreak, a betrayal, a mistake, a dead-end goal, or even a version of yourself that you've outgrown but are still clinging to. Ask yourself, what am I still carrying that's costing me peace? The answer may sting. That's okay. Letting go does not require full understanding. It requires willingness. You do not need to make sense of everything. You just need to be done with the things draining your energy, your focus, and your soul. Some of the most powerful growth you'll ever experience comes from the silent decision, in the dark, to no longer give power to what broke you. No post, no announcement, just done. And that's what this hour is for. If someone hurt you and you keep replaying it, release it. If you failed and keep punishing yourself, forgive yourself. If a dream didn't happen the way you planned, adjust your direction, not your identity. Letting go is a practice. Some days you'll do it with ease. Other days, it'll come back. But in this hour, you get to reset. Each morning, you reclaim your energy. You call your power back. And that's what makes you unstoppable. Not perfection, but persistence. Use your breath as a tool in this process. When you exhale, picture yourself releasing the weight. Imagine it leaving your chest, your mind, your spirit. It may sound symbolic, but it works. The body responds to intention. And when your mind, breath, and body agree to let go, the healing starts. Men think holding on is strength, but real strength is choosing peace over pride, especially in silence, especially when no one sees it, especially when it hurts. You want to evolve? Then stop dragging old battles into new mornings. Let go, consciously, quietly, and fully. 6. Set a mental tone for the day. Once you have faced the silence, reflected, breathed, questioned, and released, it is time to give your mind direction. You have cleared the space. Now fill it with purpose. The hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. are not just for release, they are also for creation. Buddhist monks begin their day with intention, not reaction. And that is what you need to do next. Ask yourself one simple question. Who do I need to be today? Not what do I need to do? Not who do I need to impress? But who do I need to be? This creates identity-level thinking. You stop chasing to-do lists and start moving with clarity. You're not just a man who wakes up early. You're a man who leads, who listens, who executes, who protects his peace, and that mental tone sets the standard for your energy all day. Take 60 seconds and visualize how you want to walk into the world that day. Not some fantasy, real moments. See yourself handling challenges with calm. See yourself keeping your word. See yourself being present in conversations, focused in your work, patient in stress. This is not manifesting. This is programming. Your subconscious absorbs everything in that early hour. So instead of letting it dwell on fear, feed it with command. When you speak your identity into the silence, your behavior begins to follow. That's not wishful thinking. That's psychological conditioning. And it works. You also need to remind yourself of one anchor thought, a phrase or sentence that brings you back when the day gets noisy. It can be something like, I do not react. I respond. Nothing disturbs my peace. I move with purpose, not emotion. Say it out loud. Own it. Let your nervous system feel it. Because if you do not lead your mind in the morning, it will follow the chaos of the day. And that's how you lose control, by failing to set the tone before the noise takes over. This is also where discipline is born, not in big decisions, in small, silent choices like this. Most men are reactive because they have no mental blueprint. But if you wake up between 3 and 5 a.m., you're being handed a chance, a doorway, a moment to choose how you want to show up. Take it. Because when a man starts his day from within, not from his phone, not from stress, not from noise, but from intentional clarity, everything changes. His tone, his posture, his decisions, even his relationships. You do not need a perfect plan. You need a solid tone. Set it while the world is still asleep. That is how leaders are born. 7. Align with something bigger. Once your mind is clear and your direction is set, there's one final move, and it's what keeps everything else in place. You must connect to something bigger than yourself. Men who try to carry the weight of the world alone eventually collapse. But men who understand they are part of something greater walk with strength that does not break. Between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., the ego is quiet. That's why it is the perfect time to realign with something deeper. Call it God, the universe, divine order, higher self, or simply purpose. It is not about religion. It is about anchoring yourself to a truth beyond your current problems. In Buddhist wisdom, this hour is sacred because it is the hour of surrender, not weakness, surrender of the illusion of control. The truth is, you will not always have the answers. You will not always fix things, but you can always return to presence, to trust, to alignment. Take a moment. Put your hand on your chest. Feel your breath. Then simply say, I trust the process. I am guided. I don't need to force what is already meant for me. You do not have to believe it fully yet. Just say it. This is not for show. It is not performance. It is recalibration. Men fall apart when they forget their center, when life gets loud, when people disappoint, when plans fall through, they spiral. But the man who reconnects daily, especially in these early hours, remains steady. He understands that storms pass. He doesn't chase validation. He walks with unseen guidance. This is where your deeper strength lives, not in your hustle, but in your alignment. You are not made to carry everything. You are made to align with something timeless. And when you do, peace returns. You don't beg. You don't panic. You move differently. People notice it. They can't always explain it, but they feel it. You become the kind of man who is unmoved by chaos because you know who you are and what you're connected to. This early hour gives you space to remember that. And it is a practice. Some mornings you will feel clear. Other mornings, you will feel scattered. But what matters is that you return, again and again. That's where real power comes from, consistency in silence. So as you end this early ritual, take 60 seconds to realign. Not with your goals, not with your fear, but with the quiet awareness that you are being guided, always, even when you cannot see it yet. That is where your unshakable energy comes from, and no one can take that from you. If you keep waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., it is not random. It is not an inconvenience. It is a call, a silent invitation to meet yourself before the world gets loud again. And most men ignore it. They roll over. They distract themselves. They go back to sleep, hoping the noise inside will disappear on its own. But the man who listens changes everything. He uses that hour to sit in silence, to reflect without judgment, to breathe with presence, to face the hard questions, to let go of what no longer serves him, to set the tone for his day, and finally, to align with something bigger than himself. This practice will not make your life perfect, but it will make you powerful. And when you become powerful within, the outside world begins to shift, quietly, steadily, unshakably. So next time you wake up at that hour, do not fight it. Sit up, breathe, listen. Your next level is waiting in the silence. Meet it like a man,